Okay, so first of all, we're going to start with kneading our sugar paste. I'm using Saracino and I'm using the pink. You can use any colour you like, and you can use any modelling paste you like, but for me, Saracino is my go-to paste for all of my sugar craft work that I do. What you want to do is get a little bit warmed up by just kneading it like this. I've already been kneading it on the surface. You want to kind of pull it and fold it over. It makes it more elasticy, if you see, look. You don't want to work it too much because it makes it go sticky, but just where you've got it to the point where it's nice and smooth, nice and soft, and it pulls kind of like toffee, I suppose. There you go, like that. Okay, so for this one, we want to get, he's got a pretty decent sized head, so I'm going to use 3/4 of that. Put that to one side. I'm going to give it a really good roll into a ball, and as I'm rolling, I'm pushing as well. It distorts the ball slightly, but what it does is it gets rid of any of the creases that you saw we had at the beginning. So give it a good roll, and then if you have a look, you'll see that I don't have any creases anymore. So once I'm happy that I have a nice smooth finish and I don't have the creases, I'm going to kind of form it into, that's the best way of describing it. It's a ball which I then squish in at the bottom, so it's kind of the startings of a teardrop but without the point at the bottom, and give it a nice kind of bulbous bit at the top, and then it squishes down a bit at the bottom. Okay, and then what we do is we just leave that head now that it's all smooth, it's the right shape that I want. Maybe make it a little bit thinner at the bottom, but it doesn't need to be. We're going to put it to one side while I work on the legs. Okay, so put him to one side over here, just so that it's drying. Okay, so super easy with the legs. Just give it a quick little knead, and I'm going to roll this into a long sausage. There is nothing particularly measured about this, as you will soon see. So I've got myself a sausage. I'm going to cut it in half and cut both of them in half as well. And each one of these I am going to roll again into a sausage, but, oh gosh, there's an alarm going off. It's not my kitchen, there's no fire, I promise. Okay, so I'm keeping it so that the ends are tapered and I've got like a big fat bit in the middle. Okay, put that to one side. Same again. You're just rolling it between your hands. This is super easy for the kiddies to do. Tapered at each end and fatter in the middle. Okay. Again, they really don't have to be identical. Some can be, you could have them longer, thinner. Some could be short and fat. It really doesn't matter. We're working with nature here, so nothing is uniform in nature. Okay, so I've got my 4 beginnings of my tentacles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out my tentacles like this. Okay, and then I'm going to squish it down. Okay, and I'm going to just sort of do a size check. Okay. Okay. Just make sure that it's not stuck to my surface when I've done that. Okie dokie. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to move the camera slightly so that you can see what I'm doing from the side. So bear with me 1 second. Hopefully you can see what I'm up to. Okay, I'm going to move that here. Hopefully you can see. And I'm going to stick this guy down here. Okay. Okay. So what that's given me is the body and the tentacles. You want to give it a bit of life, like this guy here, and that's one of the beauties of using Saracino. Okay, so what we're going to do now is you kind of take each of the tentacles and give them a little bit of movement. Okay, you can pull them out a bit longer if you want to. Don't go crazy because you don't want to break them. Okay, but I'm just going to twist them around a little bit. Again, they don't always have to face the same way. These guys are just going all over the place. Try and keep them cute though. That one kind of looked a bit bent and broken. You want to keep it as cute as possible. Okay, yeah, like that. Put this one just... Oh, no, if you... There you go. If you accidentally dent him or mark him, you can just rub the mark out. Again, one of the joys of Saracino. So this guy I'm just sort of twisting around. Make sure to do the guys at the back. You want to do it so that you can still see these back ones if possible. So I'm going to stick him up in the airlock. And then I'm going to stick this one kind of pointing up like that. Okay, maybe point out a little bit there. Okay, so now I've got my tentacles, and now I want to make it lifelike if possible. So I'm going to take a couple of tips from my icing piping tips. There you go. A couple of different sizes. Okay. Hopefully you can see them. They're just the general tips that you use for icing fine lines or writing. And on the underside of your tentacles, you want to do some little suckers. Okay. And just go again just on the underside. Now, where it gets closer to the body, if you want to, you can do slightly bigger ones. But you don't really need to. Okay, so we'll just go through and do that on the other ones. Again, you can kind of twist it so that you can just do the underside. And this guy here. Okay, did I do this one? I think I did this one. Oh yeah, there he is. Okay. Maybe do a few more on this one actually. I think this one looks better being the underside. Okay. And then maybe just a bigger one just there. Okay. So here we go, we have now got our tentacles, and they've all got a bit of life to them. By the way, some of you might be wondering why I've not put water on there to stick him down. Well, the weight of him will stick him down anyway, and the sugar paste is still a little bit tacky from where I'm working. So you could put some water to stick him down, but I didn't with this guy, and as you can see, he's stuck absolutely fine. Okay, so now we're going to do the eyes. Okay, so for the eyes, we just need to decide where we're going to put them. Because we want this guy to look super cute, we're going to give him really big eyes and we're going to put them quite far down. So I'm using the large end of a ball tool. These are my trusty, I don't know if you can see the logo on there, but Cake Duchess. These are my trusty Cake Duchess tools that I work with and love. You have the small ball on one end, the large ball on the other end. I'm going for the large ball, and I am going to stick with my eyes being about here. So I just stick it in. If you don't have a ball tool, you could always use your finger, or your knuckle is a good one. So you can kind of stick your knuckle in, especially if it's the kiddies doing it. Okay. Now I'm going to take some white. Again, this is my Saracino. I'm going to take my white modelling paste. I'm going to stick 2 balls of white in there. Try and keep them the same size. You have to sort of gauge it really. You don't want them to be sticking out and being all bulbous. So just a little bit less than that. This guy's a little bit too big. Just try and find the right size. There we go. That should be okay. Oh, I've just stuck them together. And again, it's quite tacky because I'm working with it, so I really don't need water. So push him in there and push it in there. Again, you see it's tacky, it's even sticking to my fingers. So I'm just going to flatten it slightly. Okay. And then I am going to do the pupils. So with the small end of my ball tool, I'm just going to stick that in there. Now you can get little draggies, little black draggies or black pearls or whatever they're called, if you don't want to use sugar paste, but I find sugar paste works fine, and it also means if the kiddies are going to be eating the creature, you don't have to worry about them choking on the little draggies. So 2 little black balls, pop them in. Okay, give it a little squish, like so. And then to give it a little bit of life, you roll out a little bit of white. Cut off the end. You only need a tiny weeny little white speck. You're just going to put the speck there just to give you a little bit of a reflection. Same size on the other side. And in fact, you're working with such small pieces that sometimes it's quite hard to work with them. I'm just cutting a tiny little white bit, rolling it in a circle, and then again you are sticking it on the same bit. So I've gone with the top right hand side, look, and you do the same, assuming that the light is coming from the same direction. Okay, so if you put one on the outside of each, it looks a bit weird, so you want to try and stick with the white pieces, A being the same size and B being in the same spot. And then we're going to draw on his cute little mouth and his little eyebrows. So I did them quite thick in that one, but you can do them thick, thin, however you want your guy to look. I'm just going to give him a little lift and show you what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do quite high up, just a little. There we go. Same on the other side, and I'm going to give him a little smile just there. Okay, so here he is, cute little guy. If you wanted to make it a little girl, for example, you definitely could do. You could put little eyelashes on, for example, here. Okay, or we can keep it as it is. By the way, this is edible. I don't know if I can focus on that. There you go, cake decoration, edible pen. So don't use real pen, use edible pen. And I've used black, but you could use well, whatever colour you like really. And also just remember not to press too hard, because otherwise if you press too hard, and I did slightly on this one, but just so that you can see if it can focus on it. Oh, I don't think I can get it to focus. But I pressed too hard on this bit here, and it kind of made a bit of an indent, so you can't really tell, but it looks neater if you do it lighter. And last but not least, I'm going to give him the weird little ear things. I didn't know octopuses had ears, but in all the kiddies programs they seem to. So here we go, just taking a little ball, and I am rolling a little teardrop with a really sort of thin point, and then you just flop it at the side here, and again really thin, roll your teardrop, really thin point, and then oh, dropped him, just pop it on here. Again, you've seen I've not used water because it is already super tacky. Okay, so there we have our finished baby octopus to go with his little baby brother there. Okay, so here they are together, Pinky and Perky. They're both pretty, they're both pink actually, but let's call them Pinky and Perky. I hope you like them. And what I might do now is just to show you that you can, but we could make one into a boy and one into a girl. So if you want to do that, we're just going to add some eyelashes and maybe a little bow. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, so to make one of them into a little girl, okay, so to make one of them into a little girl, I've just got a little bit of purple modelling paste. Really don't need a lot. I'm going to roll it so that I have 2 sides and a little ball. So little ball goes in the middle. And then my 2 little bow edges, I don't know what we're going to call them. You just sort of stick them next to it. They're sort of almost a ball, but just kind of you have a little bit of a point on one side, look. I guess teardrop again. Teardrop's the best way of describing it. So stick it on like that. And then with my little ball tool, I'm just going to push next to the ball in the middle like that. Okay, so now we've got a cute little bow. And you can see we've got a cute little bow, so now she looks like a cute little baby girl octopus. And I'm just going to very carefully just give her just a couple of little, there you go. So now we have a baby girl and a baby boy octopus. Hopefully you can see them okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a zoom in at that angle. There you go, and there they are.